Hello everyone, Stephen here for another update. This is my second reason why I invest in silver. And if you want to see my first reason, see my last video on the gold to silver ratio. This video is going to touch a little bit. It's a little bit related. All right. It's also about ratios, but it's how we value silver versus many other assets. So we're going to look at that in this video. But first, I'd like to review a little quote. It'll be a little bit of a teaser for one of my future videos. But the major monetary metal throughout history is silver, not gold. I don't know if you knew that or not, but this is a fact. Many people think it is gold, but silver was actually used more times than gold as a currency. So interesting fact there, and let's get right into the charts. So we are looking at different ratios. Now I want to start first by discussing the reasons why I use ratio charts and how they can be beneficial. So I touched about it a little bit in my last video, but using ratio charts removes the currency aspect of any chart, right? There's no dollar amount here. It is really comparing the value of one asset to the other. So in this case, silver versus gold, right? Same chart as yesterday, except inverted, all right? I change it. I put the numerator as silver, right, instead of gold. And you'll see all the charts we're going to look at today, the numerator starts by silver. And this is a big tip because it can get confusing with ratio charts sometimes. Keep it simple. If you want to see if it's undervalued, put the numerator as the asset that you're evaluating. This way there, when you're looking at the chart, if it's at the bottom of the chart, you know right away that silver is cheap versus another asset. It sounds simple, sounds stupid sometimes, but I know at the start I had trouble. Sometimes you're like, okay, which one's cheaper? Which one's more expensive? But doing like this, keeping your numerator constant, it's going to just make things much, much more easy. So I'm going to move my face over here. That's not what you want to see. All right. Silver versus gold. Well, this is pretty much the same chart as we looked at yesterday, so I won't spend too much time on it, but we're going to look at it a little bit, right? So we see here there's a major support zone here, right? So that is clear. And if we just zoom out a bit, there's a lot of history here, right? We're going back all the way back to, even back here. And I just realized that there are some dots back here. We can actually go see all the way 1931. Wow, that's pretty amazing. But it's you can see they're just little lines because there wasn't a lot of data. But anyway, starting here, this is where really the candlestick chart starts in 67. So we'll take it from the top and we'll kind of do this if I can, right? We have a peak here that I've kind of taken out. And then if I just go down a little bit more, let's see what else we can find. And I'm doing this live so you can kind of see how I do things as well, right? So we can kind of see these downtrends with these peaks. I kind of play with peaks and just see where kind of things line up for us. So this is a pretty legitimate one, right? But if we go on the daily, we're going to get a lot more details. I don't want to go in too much into this short term, because it's not as relevant. What we're looking at is the big picture. So basically what I'm saying here is that this is where we've seen what I think is a bottom in the gold to silver ratio, or silver to gold in this case, right? So this was the peak at 120 that we looked at in my previous video, right? So down here it's 0.008, kind of shot back up, retested it. So this is the start of maybe a new bull trend, right? I really think it is. I think it's going to be for the next possibly 5 to 10 years. This will be trending up until we get our blow off top in silver. All right, so this is silver versus gold. Now, how do we value silver versus the Qs, which is the NASDAQ? So right away, this is pretty awesome, right? Which asset do you want to own here? Do you want to own the asset that's kind of turning around here? Or do you want to own the asset that's topping out, right? So in this case, if you were to reverse this chart, it'd be easy to know how it would go. But silver right now is extremely, extremely undervalued versus the NASDAQ, right? So 1 ounce of silver right now only buys you 0.8 shares of the NASDAQ, and later it can get you at the peak 0.85. So this is all that it means, right? So we've got this nice nice pattern here we can do. So let's take the arc. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's draw this out. My line is really thick here, but that's okay. And then we'll just keep kind of playing with it until we set something that kind of makes sense. Over here like this, over here like this. Right? So it's more down here that you can see that the kind of arc is making sense, but it is a rounding bottom. Now, if you look at a rotting, it's not a rotting bottom, it's a rounding bottom. My French, pardon my French. So we can clearly see it's a rounding bottom, right? I'm going to get this off of here. I don't like it, but we can see it. If we throw in a couple trend lines here, we'll take this peak, we'll make it kind of follow this peak. So we had 2 touches here, not the best. You want more touches than this. I could probably shred. Yeah, there you go. Right over here. Right, and it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Okay, we're trying to do our best, and girls, we're trying to do our best to just figure out where this thing is going. Right, so we had major breakdown. Right, since this is probably 2011. Yeah, of course, and silver peaked, and now we've really broken out, right? I could say that this is still a major resistance here, right? So we need to get above these 3, like 1, 2, 3, 4 peaks. We can even do a very clear horizontal line here that'll really show that level right there, right? So 0.10, right? So 0.10, if we can get above that, then we've kind of created this bottom. And we're off to the races. Until then, we haven't really bottomed yet. We're still just trying to, we broke the first little trend line, but we still have some work to do. If you don't mind, I'm going to take the volume out of this to make it cleaner. There you go. So there we have it. That's against the Q. So which one's more undervalued? Obviously, silver is. It kind of bottoming. And for, if we want to start here from when we did it here in 2001, to 2011, that's 10 years. So that's why I'm thinking a 10-year time frame. I think this will be a good area to change our silver for stocks in the future to whatever asset that we want to invest in. And we can see here the same kind of pattern, right? We came down, came back up. This was kind of and look at that. This is very interesting. So I just found that out looking here, but that same horizontal line comes out, and it was actually strong resistance. You can see it was an important zone here, even back in 2001. So very, very interesting. We kind of broke out of this, came back down to test it, and then we did our run. So you can kind of expect the same thing right now, where we haven't broken out of it. When we do, we might come up here. Maybe I can use my little arrows here, right? So we might come up here like this, right? Then maybe do a retest. And finally, start our run. So a little bit of a forecast here, but this is what I'm looking at. This is a monthly chart, right? So this could be somewhere in 2023 that I believe will break above this. Maybe end of 2023, we correct back down, do a retest, and 2024 really starts the big run. I don't know. I'm just dates I'm throwing out there. But timing is less important. The trend is more important, and following this cycle that we're in. All right, let's look at silver versus the Dow. So this one is not as ugly, as we can see, for silver, or as much of a deal for silver, whichever way you want to look at it, right? So we got a support here, and then we have a zone kind of over here. And if you want more, there's not that as much details on this one. So let's just go to a weekly chart so we can see a little bit more candlesticks and the closing prices. So this is a zone. This goes back to 2017. I must be dividing by US 30, so it must have started then. So we don't have as much history, unfortunately. But basically, we've tagged the bottom here at 0.001. We've kind of hit up here, and now we're just underneath this kind of resistance zone. So I still believe silver is quite undervalued versus the Dow, and I'm sure if we'd go back here, we'd see even more, right? More history of the chart. Still gives you a good idea, though. And if we put a trend line down here, which is more important to what we're looking at, let me see, kind of figuring out if we take out this peak, I think we can get a good trend line there. Or you could go here, This is why having multiple trend lines is okay. See, this one's kind of useless because we're looking at, this one doesn't do anything, right? It kind of comes here. It's kind of broken out already. So this is really the trend line that I'd be looking at for this ratio. We're coming back up. We're making higher lows, right? This is bullish and kind of hugging this. Looks a bit like the silver chart, right? Silver started here, kind of went up. We're kind of doing this flag up here right on strong resistance. So hopefully we can break through it. Interesting. All right. Silver versus Bitcoin. All right. So if we go way back, obviously Bitcoin had a major blow off top. Now if we come in here, now this is versus silver, not the price I'm talking about, right? This is versus silver. So if we look here, draw some trend lines here. The first one I would say, let's take this peak with it. Yeah, that looks good, eh? All right. Now you can say I'm a Canadian now. I said A. So we got the peak here, peak there. We have another kind of touch here, and you can really see that it is a valid trend line because you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row where we hugged this and we had a major breakout, right? So I think that's clear to everyone here, right? So we had this consolidation and then boom, we had this thing come in. Perfect. That's what you want to see on a trend line, right? We have a rounding bottom here again. We're doing a retest now. So we've retested exactly at the exact spot right here, right? So this is okay. This is fine. I would say that when I'm looking at this, I would draw a horizontal line right here on this peak, and this would be your support. You wouldn't want to see it go too much lower down here. But if you back up now, you see that silver is bottoming versus Bitcoin, and hopefully it starts a run. So which one do you want to own here? Risk reward wise, for myself, it's very clear that it's silver. We won't start a Bitcoin discussion here. We'll keep that for later. Perfect. So silver versus oil. All right. So silver is very much undervalued versus oil again here, right? So we can see here, and if we look at history a little bit, I like looking at past charts because it can tell us that sometimes patterns do work out and you got to pay attention to them, right? People that don't believe in technical analysis probably just haven't spent enough time to really look at it and take the time needed to play around and just look at history, right? So we've had a trend line here, 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, and the fifth one finally came through right at the apex of this descending triangle, right? So this is back in 2018. And from 2018, again, look, we broke out, we kind of retested. Same kind of thing, right? And sorry if I'm not looking at the camera. I am looking at the charts here because I need to analyze them while I speak with you. So we broke out of this and we went for one heck of a run, right? This run was significant. Came from 0.08 all the way up to 0.31. If we look at a percentage-wise here, that's 290%, right? The outperformance was massive, right? So silver was expensive up here, right? And then we kind of came back down, and now we're retesting the bottoms, right? So this is when oil hit, as you'll see the dates here, I'm pretty sure that's when oil hit zero. Let's go August 2020. So let's go look at oil for a second. August of 2020. August of 2020. Just going to go have a little bit of fun here. So a little bit, August of 2020, April, May, June, July, August. So it's that whole section here, right? So yeah, when we had that big smash down in gold and oil, sorry, that's where you see the ratio go out of whack there. So let's go back to our ratio. Where are you? You're down here, aren't you? There it is. All right. So silver versus oil, there it is. And now if we draw a trend, this is a very, very steep kind of downtrend here. Can I do that? Not really. It's not really much downtrend to see. You can really see that this is a clear horizontal pattern, but even better than that is what I see here. By the way, guys, I didn't prepare this ahead of time. I wanted to do it more of an organic kind of video so I can share how I do this. If I can just find my pattern here, give me a quick second. I will find it. I promise I'll find it. There it is right here. So we are having our left shoulder is here. We'll go down here. Our head is down here, right up here, and our right shoulder is here. Boom, and then we have it here. So let's zoom out. Everybody see this? We call this an inverted head and shoulders. It's pretty clear. You see this a lot at the bottom. You either have a rounding bottom or you have this inverted head and shoulders. So this tells me that silver is very, and you'll see here right at the apex too, right? So we're right at the apex of this previous cycle. We've retested the apex. We're doing an inverted head and shoulders. And I think we're about to have an outperformance of silver versus oil. Hope that helps. If you're picking what you want to invest in, I would like silver more than oil here, just by this ratio. All right, silver versus platinum. Now this one is a bit of a something very interesting, and this is why I have some platinum as well, even though I'm so bullish on gold. We're going to go on the silver, sorry. We're going to go back on the monthly chart, back up a little bit. All right, so there you have it. Pretty clear here. We have silver that is overvalued versus platinum. So everything we just seen, silver was undervalued, but now we just hit one where it's clear, very clear, that platinum is undervalued. Now you can research the fundamental reasons why, but I would say that if you're looking at the chart, it's clear, and you want to see this break down, and then it'll be clear that we're making a topping pattern in this, and we're going to have an outperformance of platinum in the future. So again, what chart do you want to own? I think once this breaks downwards, we could come back over here, which will mean that if you buy platinum now, you'll be able to have a lot more silver later. If that makes any sense, I hope that does, because that's what it means, right? So yeah, so platinum here looking really good. I won't spend more time than this. Pretty clear. It's kind of up channel. Nothing's broken down yet though, right? So if we look, let's just change on the weekly chart, give you a little bit more history on this. So if we back up here, let's draw a trend line from up here to coming down, right? So we are having this kind of squeezing effect down here, right? So if we do come down and break downwards, that's going to be a really big sign that possibly, and I would even say that you need to pass this zone here because there's a lot of action here, right? So anything, what did you do? Anything below 0.17, 0.16 down here, something you want to watch. And you don't have to watch these charts often, right? Once a month, put yourself a reminder, come in here, set up your charts, just look at them, see what the asset is where, see if you're still on the right track. And investing is as simple as that, especially if you have a large percent of your portfolio in physical metals outside of the system that protects your wealth. All right, silver versus natural gas. So only a few months ago, you can see that silver was extremely undervalued versus natural gas, right? Natural gas came right back down here. So if you would have bought silver here and switch your assets from natural gas to silver, and then now switching it back, I mean, wow, look at this crazy shot up here where natural gas lost a lot of value and silver gained value versus natural gas, of course. So this is what you're seeing here. So it's very, very volatile. I don't track this too much, but it's just an interesting thing to see. So for someone that's more active maybe in trading, if you're trading ETFs or companies, you can maybe flip back and forth between the silver and natural gas ETFs, and you can compound your ounces or your whatever of gas, however you want to measure it. All right, silver versus uranium. Now, you know, I'm very bullish on my uranium stocks and the market in general for uranium, which, by the way, I think is decoupling currently versus the market this week anyway. Very early, but we'll see what happens. I'll cover that in a future video. But silver versus UX1. This is actually the spot price of uranium. So we can see here we have a clear support for silver versus uranium. And we're sitting right on top of it. We kind of broke out of it, coming back and doing a retest, right? And we have a kind of resistance up here. So we have a support zone, and it looks like almost like a flag too, eh? Kind of, I don't know if you can call it a flag, but maybe, right? You got this, right? So you got up, going up, we got this big flag. So maybe this thing one day in years from now, this will break to the upside. I don't know. That would mean silver would outperform the spot uranium price. So I'm not sure about this one, guys. I think they're both going to do really well. I would not be surprised if this thing... So if silver is undervalued here, will silver be even more undervalued? I think it might. I think we might go back and test this just because I'm so bullish on uranium. But I'm not gonna make that assumption just because of my thesis. I'm gonna let the chart play out. But if we break below this low here, silver could still do extremely well. But this is if uranium spot goes 200, 240. This will drop massively, even if silver probably goes to 50. And I'll let you do the calculation. I don't want to prolong this video too long, but yeah, that's what we're looking at. And the last one, well, how about we compare silver to silver miners? So that's an important one. For all the miner investors out there, I also invest in mining companies. And I'll be sharing my portfolio probably in future videos ahead. But, you know, we're looking at this kind of channel here that we're trading in. Pretty clear, right? So we had a peak up here, fake, I guess, breakout, we can call it. That was in the 2020 fun times, right? Where silver crashed, but the miners crashed even more, right? So, yeah, silver right now, I would say that we're kind of getting up here on the chart. So we're kind of, I would say maybe 50%. Let's just do a fib retracement on this across. We're sitting about, yeah, I was right just below, kind of just hit 50% below. So it's neutral. Right now we're pretty much neutral with the chart history that we have. So if you wanted to buy silver miners every time we hit the bottom of this channel, is probably a good time to add to your positions. So anyway, that's it, everyone. So I wanted to really touch on that today. This is one of the reasons, the second reason why I own silver. It won't be in priority order, okay? It depends on how I'm going to structure these videos, but it is one of the big reasons why I own silver is because it's cheap versus other assets, right? It's cheap versus in US dollars as well, in my opinion. It's also cheap versus all of these assets except for a couple of them. So I will leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to leave your comments. Let me know if you have any stocks you want me to look at, any charts you'd like to see, and I'd be happy to do that. All right, have a great day. Bye.